Hi, my name's Riker Biron, and today I want to talk to you about the homelessness and drug addiction problem in Albuquerque. Living in Albuquerque, especially going to UNM, I'm sure you've noticed that we have a very overarching poverty and homelessness problem. There isn't really a spot on Central that you can be and not see at least one homeless man or woman struggling nearby. It's really hard to see this, and it's even harder feeling the guilt of not really being able to do much to help them, especially because many of these people are likely to be some sort of substance abuser, and giving them money may just be feeding into their addiction. But I'm happy to say that there is something that you can do to help these people. And there are many places in Albuquerque who find pride in providing care for the homeless community. Two of which being I will introduce you later on that I find it to be especially helpful at doing this. My goal today is to explain to you how big the homelessness and addiction problem is in Albuquerque, ways cities kind of fail to address this problem properly, and ways in which you can support and provide better care for the homeless people in our community. The first thing I really want to talk about is the magnitude of the problem itself. According to krqe.com, in like 2022, Albuquerque alone has a homeless population of over 1,300, and with recent findings, that number seems to have grown quite a bit larger. As the problem gets worse, it kind of strikes competition between homeless people who are battling for even the slightest bit of help at every corner. Many people are afraid to even acknowledge homeless people, which in turn causes these people to fall into deep mental instability. Human interaction is a huge part of what keeps us sane, and when you're fully an outcast, ignored by everyone around you, it's easy to fall into a deep depression and then look for answers in the worst ways, like drugs and alcohol, which are just going to numb the pain instead of actually fix the problem. According to AmericanAddictionCenters.org, 1 in 3 homeless people deal with some sort of substance abuse problem, and 2 out of 3 of these people have a lifetime of drug or alcohol abuse disorders. Substance abuse disorder is something that is not hard to fall into, but it's almost impossible to drag yourself out of. Not having any support from like family, friends, or even people in your community makes this so much harder. Whether it's addiction that causes one to become homeless or homelessness being a gateway to addiction, this is a massive problem that needs more attention, especially in Albuquerque, where the distribution of illicit substances without any form of care, control, or understanding is extremely common. The next thing I really want to talk to you about is how cities and government funding kind of fails to address this problem properly. There are so many barriers that stop homeless people from finding jobs or a place to live. And these are especially hard for people who are like kids who are born in families that are already homeless and don't really have any sort of start to begin with. Some of these things include not having a bank account, which makes it almost impossible to get a job, not having any rental history, which makes it almost impossible to get an apartment, not having an education, which makes it hard to really do anything or, again, get a job, and then not having any savings or money behind you to begin with, so you don't really have much to start with. I think a lot of these kind of connect and in a paradoxical way of not allowing homeless people to get anywhere, where how are you supposed to get like a place to live and pay for it without getting a job when you can't get a job because you don't have somewhere you live or a bank account? So how are you supposed to really drag yourself out of this situation? Government spending is something that I feel like can go into much better places. Like some of the really negative connotations to it is anti-homeless architecture, which I have an example of right here. This is some spikes underneath a bridge so homeless people can't congregate there, and here's some like benches that have some sort of blockers so you can't really lay down comfortably on it. I think this is a repugnant and immoral and frankly illogical way of dealing with this issue, because they're not doing anything to help or solve the problem. They're just pushing the homeless people around and not allowing them to be comfortable, which is just terrible, and it doesn't do anything to solve any issues. The last thing I really want to talk to you about is ways you can actually help. There are many small acts that can be incredibly helpful for the homeless community, even if you don't have much to give. I think donating is a huge one for this. I made a list of things that you can donate that are incredibly helpful for shelters. So donating clothes, like even underwear, socks, pants, shirts, anything like that can be super helpful. Hygiene products like shampoo, conditioner, soap, um, toothbrushes, toothpaste, anything like that. Especially feminine hygiene products is really important and needed. Toiletries, laundry detergent for the shelters to wash the clothes, cold weather clothing as it gets really, really cold in Albuquerque this time of year. Reusable containers, baby supplies, non perishables, like any canned food is extremely helpful. Things like blankets as well can make a world of difference in someone's life. And then the next way I think that you can be really helpful is by volunteering. I think that is the best change that you personally can make and actually see the change that you're causing. Some places that you can volunteer at and that support homeless in Albuquerque is the Rock ABQ, which is a nonprofit that provides healthy meals and housing for homeless people. I think this is a great start, being able to give them somewhere to socialize and people to actually care for them, and then somewhere to eat and live, something to look forward to. Just so helpful. And then also Albuquerque Healthcare for the Homeless is another really, really helpful one, which offers healthcare, addiction counseling, rehab, and detox for homeless people, which I think is the biggest start that they need to make a change in their life. To get over addiction gives them the motivation to prosper. But although the homeless issue is far from being over, helping in these small ways can make a world of difference in these people's lives. Getting people the care they need instead of just putting them to the side is what's going to improve our society as a whole. And these nonprofit organizations are doing this one step at a time. So next time you see someone homeless on the street, take a second to realize that these are real people who have an extremely hard life and think about all the ways you can help. Thank you.